Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. Despite court ruling, we have four issues to consider on Nnamdi Kanu's release. Abubakar Malami speaks. Despite court ruling, we have four issues to consider on Nnamdi Kanu's release. Abubakar Malami speaks. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has stated that the federal government is not ready to free the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, despite the court order requiring Nigeria to return him to KL and pay him 500 million naira as compensation. Malami stated in an exclusive interview with Vanguard yesterday that Nnamdi Kanu's rendition could not serve as the sole justification for the release of the IPOB leader from other charges related to alleged offenses against the federal government of Nigeria. The Minister of Justice indicated that the government was keeping Kanu in custody due to four significant reasons, the first of which was the rendition issue, which the court had already cleared him. Malami said, to release or not to release Nnamdi Kanu is a function of law and the rule of law for that matter. In deciding on whether to release or not to release is one. You look at the rule of law. Two, you look at the public and national interest. Three, you look at the security situation. Four, you look at international diplomacy. Let me talk first about the rule of law. This is someone that has been granted bail on account of charges that have been preferred against him at the court. Someone jumping bail to the international community. A case of a fugitive is established against the background of jumping the bail. Two, arising from national security. This is someone that is charged with treason, incitement, and destruction of civil authority, murder and assassination of others on account of his incitement. That boils down to issues of national security and criminality. Three, on account of international diplomacy. This is someone that has against his person used the international community or a foreign country to launch an attack against a nation, against his nation for that matter. So all these naturally come into play to determine what to do. So if you have through judicial processes established multiple cases of treason, homicide, and bail jumping among others, the fact that you have indeed succeeded in one case as against multiple others that are pending goes to establish the fact that case cannot be only basis and criterion for determining whether you are entitled to be released or not. other than the case of rendition, which is indeed the only case that has been determined. There exist in the system other cases relating to jumping bail, other cases relating to inciting the public, other cases relating to murder, homicide, among others, and indeed, above all, within the context of the rule of law, the right of the federal government to challenge the decision that borders on rendition, a challenge associated with the appeal, a challenge associated with setting aside a certain judgment if the need for doing so arises, and indeed the multiple challenges within the context of the rule of law at the disposal of the federal government to exercise. So, the simple question is whether what the federal government has done by way of not releasing Kanu is justified within the context of the rule of law, and my answer is yes, it is justified. This is because the single case that has been determined is not only pending case against Kanu. There exist other multiple cases associated with treason. There exist multiple appeals that are pending and yet to be determined. And then again, there are international public interest dimensions, and the essence of the government is the sustenance of a public and not an individual interest. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has stated that the federal government is not ready to free the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, despite the court order requiring him to return him to Kenya and pay him 500 million naira as compensation. To my dear listeners, now I've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by